Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Basketball Conference, the ACC Football Podcast. My name is Joey Weaver. He is Mike McDaniel. Mike, how much fun was it having Lauren Brownlow on with us on the Week 4 recap? That was a great time, I thought.
She was awesome. If you haven't listened to it, it's on iTunes, Google Play, Facebook. We've promoted it on Twitter at least a dozen times at this point between all three of our accounts. So make sure to go check that out. She was awesome. Great to have her on. We'll definitely have her on again for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. If you can't tell that we're pretty proud of that episode, by the amount of tweet volumes and all that, so go check that out. Our Week 4 recap was a lot of fun. A lot of really good insights on there too, and what was a pretty tumultuous week for the ACC. We'll say that's a big word for me, but it was. And so go check that out if you haven't yet. Mike, we got Week 5. We got Week 5 games to preview. It's an interesting slate, and it gets started early, Mike. 8 o'clock Thursday night on ESPN. The North Carolina Tar Heels on the road in Coral Gables taking on the number 16 Miami Hurricanes. The Canes, an 18-point home favorite here. And, man, as bad as we've seen North Carolina, they are coming off a win. Can they cover 18 here?
I don't know.
New quarterback for Miami, Thursday night.
Better quarterback for Miami, Thursday night. Home game, playing against a team that's really garbage. Bad defense. Yeah, Miami can cover. Don't bet money on it. You already talked me out of it, by the way, before the podcast. I was like, yeah, Miami, my ACC team, pick of the week. And you were like, no, don't do that. Here's why.
Yeah, you were really gung-ho about it. And there's two things that stick out to me about this that I think I am nervous about laying 18 points with Miami here. Number one, it's a weeknight. That's the whole thing. But also North Carolina getting players back from suspension. They've got guys that are going to be coming back. They're going to be playing with more of a full deck of cards than they have been recently. So that's going to be one thing going in the Heels' favor. Number two, do you know who Miami plays next week, Mike?
Florida State. Thanks for reminding me, Joey.
That would be the Noles. And regardless of how good or not the Noles have been this year, this is ultimately going to be a look-ahead game for Miami. So I talked you out of it. I think you and I both on UNC plus 18 here. I don't love it. I don't love putting any faith in North Carolina here, but this is just a couple of factors here that kind of tell me this is the side to take. So you know what? Let's just take the points. I think Miami still wins comfortably here, but give me the Heels, maybe like, I don't know, 38-24 or 35-21, something like that.
Okay. I'll say Miami covers. North Carolina sucks.
Ooh. Going back on it.
Going back on it. Not going to be my pick of the week, though. And, maybe I'll bet it. But
yeah, I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I don't either. Probably won't bet, actually, but I might bet it.
Even getting points again with how bad UNC's been, I don't feel great.
Yep. No Malik Rozier, right? It's going to be Perry. Should be Perry, but never trust Mark Richt, so I don't know. Keep an eye on that.
You never know. I know that Cam has been pretty excited this week, kind of dealing with this, and it seems like it's more of a permanent change than not. It's kind of interesting to me that if Mark Richt is going to make a permanent change like that he would do it on like the third drive of the game like he did last week. It seems like a thing you'd do in practice during the middle of the week. But, hey, I mean, it was FIU. They won comfortably the whole thing. So it seems like everything is indicating that N'Kosi Perry is the guy going forward. I would feel better, honestly, about taking 18 with UNC if it wasn't going to be him, if it was going to be Rozier. But I think that's where we're at right now is just take the points. They're going to, Miami's still going to win this game comfortably, but I think they'll leave something in the tank, let off the gas, and again, in a bit of a look-ahead spot here, give me the Heels plus 18.
Okay. I love North Carolina. I don't love North Carolina. Complete and total lie. I love Miami with N'Kosi Perry. I love him. Love him. Love the team. Love the upside of the offense. I love Perry as a prospect. Yeah, I mean, feel like a bandwagon Miami fan with N'Kosi Perry in the game, except I freaking hate him. So,
except for that
but besides that, yeah. All right, let's move on. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have to confess, I have not yet seen Miami with my own eyes with Perry at quarterback. So
it looks good. Looks good, Joey. Looks a lot different.
You're talking a big game.
Yeah, looks good.
Speaking of Cam, we might need to get him on next week to preview that FSG game. Just just a little seed there. Maybe we'll bring him on to get a bit of a special preview on and talk about this quarterback situation as it's evolved.
I think we can do that.
Yeah. So we disagree here. UNC plus 18 for me. Miami minus 18 for Mike. We'll move on. Going on to Saturday, Mike, 12:20 on the ACC Network Extra. What we're going to argue is the most interesting ACC conference game of the day. The Virginia Cavaliers on the road in Raleigh against the NC State Wolfpack. And that feels like a strange thing to say that Virginia is like one of the headliner games of the day. But I think when you look at what's happened so far, they kind of have to be.
Virginia's good, Joey. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
NC
State's good. NC State's good, Joey. Maybe.
Well, it's a less tentative maybe for me on NC State. I feel better about them than I really do. And I've got more of a track record really on NC State. But
totally fair.
Realistically, this is the toughest game that both of these teams will have played so far. We truly got robbed of NC State against West Virginia. That would have been a really fun game, but
so much robbery.
Yeah, that's highway robbery right there. Not really. It was weather, damn it. But if you look at it, Virginia, they've won 3 games so far. It was an FCS team, and then S&P Plus, they beat Ohio at 104 and Louisville at 85. NC State's at 29, right? So 3-1 Virginia, they've looked good. They've moved the ball and all this, but this is pretty clearly their toughest test so far. They also played number 45 Indiana and lost on the road.
Should have won.
Yeah. I'm going to have more faith in NC State here. I'm going to have some faith in their defense and Ryan Finley moving the ball. This being the toughest game that Virginia will have played so far and having to do it on the road in Raleigh, I think I'm going to ride with the Wolfpack here, Mike. NC State, by the way, only a 5.5-point favorite in this game. This is a pretty low number relatively. If you feel pretty comfortable with NC State and what they are right now, I think this is something to consider, pushing the button on, so to speak.
NC State, more of a track record recently as being a good team than Virginia, who really hasn't been good for a long time. Of course, made a bowl game last year, got shithoused by Navy, so to speak. Really just run out of the stadium in that game. Scored the first touchdown, and that was about it. So Virginia being a good team is new. But with that being said, how good are they? They have lost 1 game, and it was really to the only decent team they've played, and that's Indiana. Indiana's a pretty decent Big Ten team. Doesn't get a lot of headlines because that conference is so top-heavy. On to NC State. Like you mentioned, we got robbed of probably one of the best non-conference games of the year when NC State was unable to play West Virginia 2 weekends ago. NC State, solid program, great quarterback. They're playing at home. Raleigh's a very tough place to play. It's going to be really the first true road environment for Bryce Perkins, going on the road to NC State. His first real ACC atmosphere he's playing in. Tough place to go play for your first crack in conference in a road game. I got NC State. I think they cover 5.5. Virginia keeps it within 10. I think they'll play well. I think NC State's just a little bit better right now, but we'll find out a lot about both of these teams regardless moving forward, because hey, this is one of the best conference games of the weekend, and like you mentioned, I can't believe we're saying that about Virginia and NC State.
I'm going to go NC State like 35-24, something like that. I think it's a competitive game, maybe not a blowout, but I think that NC State's the better team here, at least as far as what we really are sure about. I guess a lot of this bet on this for me is maybe gambling a little bit on Virginia being fool's gold. That I'll say, they've looked good against some subtly bad teams, and when you start playing some of the better teams in their schedule, they won't look quite as good or as dominant as they have. So I think we agree here, Mike. NC State minus 5.5 is the play. The total's 53. I think you probably leave that alone. I can kind of see that going either way. If you had to play it, I think over makes more sense.
Yep.
Because life's too short to bet the under.
And I've learned that the hard way multiple times, Joey. So let's go with the over. Let's do it. Why not?
Clearly it's been impacting my pick of the week strategy, as I'm 1-3 on the season, mostly just picking unders. So time will tell. We might end up riding that pony again this week. We'll get there here in just a minute. Mike, let's move on. Noon on ABC. Syracuse on the road in Death Valley against the number 3 Clemson Tigers, fresh off of a huge win over my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Clemson's a 24-point favorite here, Mike. And I'm not going to lie, Clemson considerably better than Syracuse, but I'm just going to say I think as well as Syracuse can score, especially like late in the game after Clemson were to let off the gas, I think I like the Orange to cover 24 points here. That is a lot. If assuming that this time next week, Eric Dungey is a fully functioning, physically put together human being and not broken into 1,000 pieces.
That's a lot to ask. That's a ton to ask. I'm taking Clemson minus 24. Syracuse, your luck has run out. You're playing a real defense this week. Sorry. Clemson, big. Clemson by a lot. Trevor Lawrence, have a field day. Have yourself a field day, Trevor Lawrence. Kelly Bryant, sorry you're not starting, but you're going to get a lot of playing time in this football game. I think Syracuse gets blown out in Death Valley. I don't think they're even competitive, and I don't know why.
So many points.
It's a lot of points. Clemson by 1 million. Get back game 52-16.
Oh crap, I forgot about that aspect.
Get back game. It's a nooner. Eric Dungey's going to be hurt in the second quarter. I hope he stays healthy for what it's worth. I love Eric Dungey. But he's going to get himself killed. Clemson by 1 billion. A bajillion. A lot.
And Clemson did just change full-time to Trevor Lawrence here at quarterback. And that's
by a ton.
Yeah.
Pass defense for Syracuse, very much assy. Clemson. Just don't even think about it. Just
Clemson. You're making me question now, Mike. I was feeling really gung-ho and clever for taking the points here with Syracuse, but the get-back game, you're absolutely right. Clemson might try to murder Syracuse in this game.
And for what it's worth, Joey, a lot of what I said was probably a giant over-exaggeration, but it's just a gut feeling. It's a gut feeling. Trevor Lawrence throwing into a really bad defense. He's been excellent when he's been in the game. It's a get-back game. It's in Death Valley. Clemson's defense might just completely overwhelm Syracuse's offensive line, and Eric Dungey, all he wants to do is run when there's nobody open, and that spells recipe for disaster against a very good Clemson defense. Tigers by 1 billion.
Mike, you drive a hard bargain. I'm actually going to switch my pick. There's one other data point that I just found that I feel like everybody needs to be aware of that is very much relevant here. The last time that Syracuse went to Death Valley, November 5th, 2016, Clemson 54, Syracuse nothing.
And what did I say? I
54 to nothing.
I said 52-16, and maybe I gave Syracuse a little bit too much credit.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Yeah.
Now, I think Eric Dungey was knocked out in this game, and Deshaun Watson was playing for the Tigers in this game.
Yeah, that sounds, hey, you know what? Eric Dungey getting knocked out, that seems like something that could happen on Saturday. Trevor Lawrence might be as good as Deshaun Watson at some point in time.
He might be better.
And he might even be better. Clemson by 1 billion. Don't even think about it.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, I think I'm on that board.
I'll be here all week.
Because if nothing else, Syracuse probably better than they were 2 years ago. They have not closed the gap with Clemson by 30 points from 2 years ago.
Bingo.
Not even close. So
let's buy it.
Clemson minus 24. That feels dirty to say. I can't believe that. But all right. Let's do it. Let's lay 24 points with the Tigers. I guess they just beat Georgia Tech by 28. So anything's possible.
That was real life analysis right there too. That was like,
it sure was. That was hard hitting, detailed analysis that you guys come to the Basketball Conference podcast for with your good friends Joey and Mike. We bring that hard hitting analysis.
I dropped the word bajillion about 4 times in that segment. So.
Absolutely, Mike. We can't put this off anymore. We need to talk about at 7 o'clock on ESPN2 your Virginia Tech Hokies on the road in Durham against the Duke Blue Devils. And Mike, one of these teams is ranked number 22 and a 5-point favorite, and it is not Virginia Tech.
Yep, but Hokies are going to win, and by nature they're going to cover. Hokies +5, not even worried about it. Ryan Willis comes in, not as much of a drop-off at quarterback as you may think. Defense will play better. They're going to play angry. Quentin Harris plays quarterback for Duke. It's been okay. Can't really throw all that well. think the defense will be a lot better. I think they got a wake-up call last week by playing like ass against Old Dominion. Think they'll be back. They'll play a little bit better. That should be enough against a Duke offense that's run the ball pretty well. I think if you slow down Britton Brown, they're going to have a lot of trouble scoring. Hokies win +5 here. Easy. If the Hokies blew out Old Dominion, we wouldn't even be thinking about this game, Joey. We'd say, okay, maybe a little look-ahead spot with Notre Dame coming up. No more look-aheads. They wasted their look-ahead on Old Dominion. Hokies win.
Damn, Mike, you're fired up tonight. You're all about it.
I've had a rough day. I've had a rough day at work, so let's keep it going. I am fired up tonight.
Bring it on. I'm with you on this one. Virginia Tech +5, and I think I'm going to go outright. I still feel nervous about that. Virginia Tech breaking in a backup quarterback, but he is experienced. He's a junior, I believe. Virginia Tech right now, by the way, +180 on the money line.
Money line it. Let's go.
I mean, yeah, you basically double up if they win the game outright. I'm a little bit in a buy low, sell high kind of perspective here. I'm with you on. I think Virginia Tech's going to be better, especially defensively this week. I think they're going to give Duke a hard time and Quentin Harris. This is going to be the hardest defense that he's faced so far, regardless of what you saw from the Hokies last week against Old Dominion. He has not seen anything like this between Baylor and NC Central. So even as a junior himself, I mean, Duke, they're not going to be blown out in this game, but I think I'm with you, Mike. Just give me Virginia Tech to cover and win outright. If Duke does win here, I think that's very telling about where they are as a program. I think it tells us more about Duke than Virginia Tech, honestly. But give me the Hokies to win outright. We'll say 27-24 is what I'm going to go with. I think relatively kind of lower scoring. And actually, that's probably too high of a number. Mike, the total on this game, 50.5, I think that's too high. Yeah, I think it's too high. You got two backup quarterbacks going against two really good defenses. Virginia Tech's going to be fired up to prove that last week was an aberration. Under 50.5 in this game, that total's too high. And Mike, let's lock it up. That's my ACC pick of the week. We're getting right. I'm 1-3 in picks of the week.
Let's make it 2-3.
Let's make it 2-3, under 50.5, Virginia Tech and Duke. In a bit of a get-right game for Virginia Tech, and I think that they win outright again. So to revise my score, which was a total of 51 points, let's go Virginia Tech 21, Duke 17.
Nice. I was thinking that would be my score too. I don't give scores, as you know. I'll give one here, 21-17. Hokies win and cover outright. Give me them on the money line. Bet the house.
Do it.
House on the Hokies. Why not? Backup quarterback. What could go wrong? 7 o'clock game in Durham.
Getting value. You're going to be there, right, Mike?
Was. Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, not doing that.
Well, good times.
Yeah, don't do that.
Well, if you're going to that game, give them hell, Virginia Tech fans. We know you will. 3:30 on ESPN2, Mike. The Florida State Seminoles, a 6-point road favorite in Louisville against the Cardinals. And this is a game that, again, 2 years ago, this is the game where they came out of College Game Day. Lamar Jackson lit them up. Louisville 63-20 winners. They kind of kickstarted Lamar's Heisman campaign, all this stuff. Last year there was a little less shine on the tires there, and this year it is kind of an afterthought of a game in the ACC right now, as Florida State has been bad and Louisville has been worse. And somehow, Mike, I guess I'm just going to take Florida State to cover 6 on the road. I think I was telling you before, this is not me having faith in Florida State as much as just fading Louisville and thinking Louisville's bad more than Florida State's any good. So, I mean, what the hell? Florida State's defense is going to get it done, give Louisville's offense a whole lot of problems. DeAndre Francois probably going to throw for a couple of touchdowns here or there. I'm going to go with the Noles. Let's go like 21-10. Florida State. I think this is another really low-scoring game. I don't think either of these offenses are really any good.
Florida State wins and covers, keeps the momentum going. Louisville's passing defense sucks. DeAndre Francois doesn't really. So let's roll with that. Let's say that they keep Francois upright and he throws the ball okay, Joey. How about that?
I think that's an attainable goal. It's the small victories. Now that is the problem, is that you've got the notorious BVG's defense firing after DeAndre Francois and that bad offensive line. That is always a recipe for disaster, but Louisville's kind of its own brand of disaster. So this is a game of bad against worse.
Yep.
Inside of a touchdown, give me Florida State. I think if you got it at like 8 or 9, maybe take Louisville on the points, but just take the Noles and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Brian Van Gorder's been at training this week to learn the basics of the pass rush, so he's still kind of learning that whole conceptual thing. So I like Florida State here.
I think so. Yeah, Noles -6. Let's move on. 3:30, same time on ESPNU. The Pitt Panthers, a 13.5-point road dog in Orlando against the number 13 Central Florida Knights. And Mike, I think they're going to get murdered. Yep. I think it's going to be real bad.
Yep. We're talking 13.5 points. I think Mackenzie Milton might throw for 13.5 touchdowns. How about that?
He very well might. He's going to be inventing ways to score by throwing for half a touchdown at some point.
Half a touchdown.
Actually, if you throw for enough in a row, do you get like a multiplier?
I think probably.
Like in Mario Kart, if you hit enough boosters in a row, you get an extra booster even in there. Yeah, I think Mackenzie Milton is going to start discovering unknown rules in college football that 3 straight touchdowns, you throw a fourth one, it becomes an extra half touchdown. So that's possible.
Yeah, you get the half a touchdown by throwing it over to the bench for Josh Heupel, and he'll throw back to his Oklahoma days, and he'll throw a touchdown pass from the bench. Because turns out Pitt can't cover that either. So yeah, UCF by a billion.
Doing this game in Orlando, man. Yeah, this is a bad matchup for Pitt.
Kenny Pickett, game manager, not good. This is all the makings of an absolute curb stomping.
The biggest problem for Pittsburgh, and we alluded to this in the recap, is that Pittsburgh's offense has been so just underwhelming, and it's like one of those golf carts that has a governor on it, Mike. Like, you can floor it, and it will only ever go so fast. Like, they scored 35 points last week against North Carolina, and that was the second high water mark of the 16 games they've played since Matt Canada left. Like, it's just that's going to cap out somewhere, and UCF's not. They're just going to keep scoring. Like, they're regularly hanging 50 and 60 burgers on anybody and everybody. So you better come ready with your tracksuit and your warm-up pants on, because they're out there to run and go score a whole bunch of points. That's what UCF's going to do to you, and I think that they're going to cover 13.5 here.
Yep, they're going to look like the new school Pat Narduzzi defense, which, by the way, not a good thing.
Yeah. Mike, how confident are you feeling in this 13.5?
Very did you start a college fund for your future kids yet? bet that on it. That's how confident I am.
You're reimbursing me if it goes wrong?
Reimbursing you if it goes wrong, and then doubling down next week.
Is this one of those where I can bet the game like it's already been played?
Pretty much. I'm very confident in UCF here.
Would you like to make it your pick of the week, perhaps?
I will like to make it my pick of the week. Dude,
all right.
Pittsburgh sucks. They're bad. They lost to North Carolina last week. They are garbage. UCF by a bajillion. I've used that a lot on this podcast. We got a lot of blowouts here, Joey. We got a lot of blowouts.
Quick reminder, he is at Mike McDaniel CFB on Twitter if y'all want to go find him, Pitt fans.
Yeah, come at me, Pitt fans. Come at me like 6 minutes into the game. We'll see what the score is. UCF by a ton. A lot.
First quarter, end of the first quarter, I bet Pitt's down 21-7.
I bet they've given up 4 touchdowns by that point, 28-7.
They may well have.
And Pittsburgh scoring 7 points would be an accomplishment. UCF's defense isn't even good, but Kenny Pickett, kind of garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the way, Pitt expected to lose this game by 21 points by S&P Plus, so keep that in mind. This is a comfortable cover for UCF.
Yep.
I might go get in on that now before this number moves anymore.
Oh, well, maybe it'll move back in our direction. It'll be like 12.5. Then you can just take a nap while betting on it.
There you go.
Yeah, bet that new house on it, Joe. Let's do it.
I'll run that by the wife first.
Yeah, run it. Yeah, good idea. Run it by Maggie.
At noon on ESPNU, Mike, the Boston College Eagles, a 13.5-point home favorite against the Temple Owls. So we know Boston College looked pretty bad last week against a fired-up Purdue team, and understandable. Now, we talked about Virginia possibly being a bit of a fool's gold kind of thing, right, where they've beaten all these teams so far, but none of them are particularly good. S&P Plus rankings for teams that Boston College has beaten. 105 FCS, not applicable, and 84. Now, to be fair, the 84 was Wake Forest, and I think that's probably a little bit underselling them. But Temple is at 66. I mean, they're a little bit better. 13.5 is a lot of points, Mike. We confident we rolling with the D train here?
Yeah, BC wins and covers. Anthony Brown's not going to throw 4 interceptions in this game. Don't think Temple's defense is really all that good. BC wins and covers. 13.5 on the road. Let's do it. Are they at home or on the road?
They're at home.
Oh, they're at home. Okay. Well, even more confident. BC 13.5. Got it. They'll be fine.
So the thing is, Temple's defense actually is pretty good. The problem is that their offense is not. Their offense is really, absolutely, really bad. So
and BC's defense, by the way, not all that bad.
Not bad at all. No. Yeah. They might have to get a little creative. It seems like there are those teams that Boston College is going to run into where you can't just say we're going to hand it off to A.J. Dillon 30 times and they're going to run up the score on them. Some defenses are going to be able to key in on him and actually stop him and bottle him up for a lot of the game. And so you're going to have to get a little bit creative with Anthony Brown at some point. The good thing is that he has shown us at times this year when they've had to, he can handle that just fine. I'm with you here. Boston College wins big at home. I'm going to say they cover the 13.5. I don't know if I'd recommend betting this game. That is a lot of points to give up with a team that still might have a bit of a touch of fool's gold to them. So probably leave that one alone.
Yeah, I'd probably leave it alone. I'm likely in agreement with you. Anthony Brown, one thing to keep in mind, he got creative in throwing the ball to the other team last week, so that's something to keep in mind. As long as he doesn't do that, BC should be fine here and cover, but keep an eye on that. We'll see. I think BC wins this thing comfortably, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 2 more, Mike. At noon on the ACC Network Extra, my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, a 28.5-point home favorite to the Bowling Green Falcons. As we do continue the ACC MAC Challenge, as we referenced on their podcast with Lauren. 28.5 is a hell of a lot of points, Mike. And Bowling Green is an absolute trash team. They are number 128 in S&P Plus. They're number 129 in S&P Plus defense. Their rushing defense, I believe, is the single worst in the country. This is a giant formula for Georgia Tech to just roll them and kind of have a get-right moment and get some momentum and some rhythm back. I'm a little tempted to take 28.5 points and say that Bowling Green's offense is going to cause them enough problems on defense that they can keep it within 4 touchdowns.
Georgia Tech 43, Bowling Green 10.
Which is 33 points. Okay, so you're going with a cover here.
Enough. Barely enough. I mean, well, I guess 5 is covered by like 4.5 is pretty good. But anyway, yeah. They cover.
I don't know if I can trust Georgia Tech enough right now. I'm having trust issues.
Bowling Green, I get that because you're a Georgia Tech fan. Bowling Green can't tie their shoes and chew gum at the same time when defending the run. So,
they really can't.
They can't even open the pack of gum, and they don't even know where their shoes are. So
they are my alcoholic uncle, it turns out.
Yeah, it turns out they really suck at defending the run on a college football field. That's kind of what it boils down to. They suck.
Yeah, I'm. If anything, this has a weird styles make fights kind of situation to it. Of A, Bowling Green's not going to be able to stop Georgia Tech, but B, Georgia Tech's defense. Bowling Green seems like their offense is competent enough that I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Yeah, you know what? Georgia Tech covers. You're a bad influence on me, Mike. Get me to lay 28.5 points with my team that I have no trust in.
Hey, good news though. Went 6-1 last week.
Yeah,
it was a nice bounce back week because I went 3-8 the week before.
You didn't go 6-1 last week. You went 5-5. We both went 5-5.
No, excuse me. Not on my picks here. Just in general, the games I actually bet, like put money on. 6-1. I'm sorry to confuse you.
Man, you had a big bounce back week then.
Huge.
There you go. All right. Sure. What the hell? You only live once. Georgia Tech covers 28.5 somehow. By the way, if you're going to bet that game, wait on that hook to go down.
Yep.
Try to get that inside of 28 and spare yourself the scoring number there. So,
and don't just fire your bookie, burn him if he suggests that like it's one of the first games you bet this weekend.
Yeah,
Burn the
absolutely. Don't do that. All right, last one, Mike. 3:30 on the ACC Network Extra. The Wake Forest Steeman Deacons, a 25.5-point home favorite against the Rice Owls. And just as I was talking about, I don't like laying a lot of points, but you know what? I'm laying them here with Wake Forest because Rice is actual trash. Wake Forest can and will run up the score on them. This is going to get ugly real quick, I think.
Yep. What the hell is a Rice? Wake by a lot.
Wake by a lot. All right. Well, yeah, so 25.5 points. Give me Wake Forest here. Let's go 52 to 20 or something.
How many rushing yards do you think Wake Forest has in this football game?
I'm going to go at least 280.
Okay. I was going to say
it kind of depends on if they want to run the ball or if they want Sam Hartman passing the ball. But I don't know that Rice can really stop either of them.
They can't. I was like, narrator, they can't.
Rice S&P Plus, 127, and defensively 128.
Bad team. Bad football team.
So Wake Forest and Georgia Tech, you guys are playing two of the four worst teams in the country. You had better just annihilate them. And if you don't, then we will not believe in you for the rest of the season. That's a fact. That's a guarantee.
Rice might quit at halftime.
Ooh. They might pull a hold on. No, it's not there. I don't know what the guy's name was that was at the Bills that ran off. You never know. They could do it. I mean,
everybody listening to this podcast is screaming his name too.
Yeah.
How do you not remember?
I would say it's happened before.
Fonte Davis.
Man. Fonte Davis. That is correct.
Give me a second. It's here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could happen. You never know.
Or like the random Tennessee guy that quit too. Or, he wouldn't come in the game, right? And Pruitt sent him home.
Allegedly, there's a lot of conflicting stories there. And I don't know what it means, but I think the one thing we can take away from it is that Tennessee is still hilarious trying to maintain a functioning football program.
Hey, update. Is Jeremy Pruitt an asshole?
Yes. But we knew that.
Yeah.
That's not new information. We knew that already.
Bitch, he might be.
Yeah, he might be.
Yeah.
All right. Wake Forest minus 25.5. Give him like 52 to 10 or something like that. Anyways.
Yeah, Wake by a lot.
Mike, that's all the games we got this weekend. It's kind of a weird slate here coming off of week 4. I keep waiting on like hardcore. We're going to have 7 conference games in a week. We'll get there at some point soon. But
hey, well, next week we have Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. I'm sure plays somebody.
Oh, they got Louisville on a Friday night.
Oh, that won't
possibly go wrong.
What could possibly go wrong? That won't be weird at all.
Man, I'm going to be there for that game. I'm looking forward to it and also not looking forward to it in like the worst way. So, you know,
I'm looking forward to betting it with you there.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what the line is actually. Georgia Tech on the road against an assy Louisville team, like that'll be one to watch. So keep an eye on that.
Think it's inside 10?
Yeah, I think it's inside of 10. I'm not really convinced of who's going to be favored. And I'm not favoring Tech on the road by more than a couple or 3 points anyways, like the way they've played. So I don't know where else you're going with that.
I'd be willing to bet it's like Georgia Tech minus 5, probably, if I had to guess.
Well, let's wait and see how these teams do this weekend.
Yeah, don't.
Louisville could beat Florida State. I mean, throw that out there. Georgia Tech might just totally implode and be in a squeaker against a crappy Bowling Green team. I mean,
I was going to say Bowling Green will not beat Georgia Tech, though. Famous last words. They will not beat Georgia Tech.
Let's not talk about that. That's probably too real of a thought right now. All right, Mike, let's get out of here. My pick of the week, Virginia Tech Duke under 50.5. Your pick of the week, Central Florida covering 13.5 at home against Pittsburgh. That is a lot of points to lay, and yet I don't feel bad about it at all. It's kind of funny because, again, our picks of the week, I'm 1-3, you're 2-2. Our overall picks, I'm 20-12, you're 16-16. So basically the strategy here is bet on my picks of all these games, bet on Mike's picks of the week. I think that's the strategy here if you're trying to make any money, but also, careful trying to make money off what we're telling you. So in any case, Mike, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Don't think so. I don't think I brought much in the way of analysis. I just screamed that a lot of teams were going to get blown out. So I don't know how beneficial that is to everybody, but
that's podcasting at its finest as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah. If anything, Syracuse is going to get murdered. Murdered.
Yeah, they are. That's a get-back game for Clemson. You're absolutely right. Golly. All right. Well, Mike, we're going to come back and recap these games at the end of the weekend. Until then, they can find us on Twitter. I am at FTRSJoey. He is at Mike McDaniel, CFB, and together we're at BC Podcast ACC. Y'all can send us an email with your questions, comments, concerns to the longest email address known to man, basketballconferencepodcast@gmail.com.
Nailed it.
That was efficient. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, the Overcast app, wherever fine podcasts are sold for free. And Mike, hit them with where they can find us in the social medias.
Facebook.com/basketball conference. Rate, review, find all of our podcasts there. And of course, continue to rate and review us on iTunes and Google Play. Make sure you go do that.
Please do. And please share us with your friends. If you got ACC football loving friends. And if they say, why are you sharing this basketball podcast with me? It's football season. You'll be like, haha, well, that's a joke. So,
yep. And direct them right to this one where I'm just screaming about teams getting blown out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is our finest hour, other than our last one.
Other than that, yeah.
Other than that. Mike, they can also find us on YouTube if they so choose. They can come watch us yelling into microphones. It's just search for Basketball Conference on YouTube. We don't have a fancy URL or anything, so go check us out there. Mike, anything else?
I think we're good.
You want to come back and recap these games this weekend?
We have no choice, Joey.
We do not. We are we are committed to a life of indentured servitude to the ACC and all of its activities for good or for evil, and we'll come back and talk about them on Sunday.
Yep.
All right. Well, until then, for Mr. Mike McDaniel, I am Joey Weaver. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. Enjoy the games, and until next time, go ACC.